was that? How good was that? I thought I had to brush my teeth first, so I thought I'll put Hearts of Oak on. Keep the lads busy. Hang on. Let's pause it on a bit of Bootneck action. Where were they? Oh, this is a new one. Lads hoisting the flag in Stanley, wasn't it there? Looks like it. Get in. Back when men were men and sheep were scared. How's everyone doing? Yeah, I was early today. Chipped the bed, so I had to get up. Of course I didn't. I went to the gym though, and then my missus made us breakfast, and yeah, it was quite relaxing. Should have put that on in the French cinema. Who's in? Crikey, there's loads of yous already. Gone are the days when I can give everyone a shout out. Instead, I'll just do the important people in green. Professor Andy, how you doing? Resistant Geordie, now then. Richie Errington, hello. John Hunter, Stu, all right. Ambs, how you doing? Annie, hello. Trev Harris, Denise, Mr. Maximum, Seiko Jeff, and the Angry CFC. Now then, Chelsea. Not really a fan of Chelsea, but alas, we're all red-blooded Englishmen. It'll have to do. What's going down? Lots of good news to talk about, however. But let me get rid of this and put some Twitter on, because loads of good stuff to get into this week. I'll tell you what. It's going to come as no surprise who views this channel, but you know we are truly scraping the bottom of the piss barrel at this point. I can't believe how bad it's got in as short a time as it has. You know, long-term viewers know that for a long time I've been advocating the accelerationist approach, abandoning the Conservatives for being left-wing. It's just slow decline, and opting for the Labour Party to be the bull in the china shop, and then hopefully usher in an actual right-wing alternative in 2029 if we're still allowed to vote. But I'll tell you what, even I, despite being a long-term advocate of this approach, so knowing that it was going to be genuinely appalling, even I'm astounded at the speed at which they've managed to make a complete pig's ear out of everything, a dog's breakfast. It's really, really astounding. I thought it'd take like a year or two. Like, I think Tony Blair was obviously, I mean, evil, yes, but clearly more of a intellectual fella than Starmer. An evil genius, dare I say. You know, Tony Blair, as reviled as he is, as much as I would love to see Tony Blair tried for treason and then Marie Antoinetted in front of cheering crowds, as much as I hate him, he was good at what he was doing, wasn't he? He was cunning and manipulative, and he went through everything. Starmer's just an idiot. He's a true believer, but he's a moron. He's nowhere near as circumspect. Oi, Danny Ashton's joined the team. Danny Ashton, thanks very much. Now you are important and will be foremost among my attentions. Are you going to talk about South African DEI? I don't know too much about South African DEI, other than there's more racist policies in South Africa now than there ever was when old Nelson was kicking off. Not the good Nelson, not Admiral Nelson, Mr. Mandela, obviously. But yeah, I mean, if anyone wants to throw a story in the comments regarding South African DEI that I might find thrilling, we can, of course, discuss that at length. There's a few things I'm going to bring up, though. First things first, this was hilarious. Have you seen this? Nick Buckley, MBE, shared it. Unbelievable. Like, it's hilarious to me because the commies have been saying for ages that it's all right-wing propaganda and they're not really soft on immigration. And the best thing they said, the most absurd lie, was that there wasn't a problem on the border. Do you remember that? There's no problem on the border. Literally 1 million illegals come in under Biden. Well, probably more. Don't they reckon it's as high as 10 million? I think they think it's as high as 10 million, but the whole time they were saying there is no immigration problem, everything's fine, and you know, Biden's tough on immigration. Here we've got footage, I'll play it, of a proper full-blown being arrested, not 5, not 10, not 15, 17 times, right? 17 times. I know some proper, horrible bastards in the borough. And even they've only been arrested like 10 times. 17 times. And as they're loading him into the van, he's going on about how much he loves Joe Biden. Like, he's that bad. Even the criminal gangsters like him. They're like, oh yeah, Joe Biden's great. He doesn't enforce the law. So, honest, just so you know, I'm not winding you up. Check this out. How to make it bigger. There we go.
One of those threats is this illegal alien from Haiti. ICE says he's a gang member with 17 criminal convictions in recent years.
Trump, you feel me? Yo, Biden forever, bro. Thank Obama for everything that he did for me, bro.
That's unbelievable, isn't it? Thank Obama for everything he did for me, bro. What did he do for you? What did he do? Get Big Mike to pull you off when you're in the cells one night? That's unbelievable, isn't it? That is unbelievable. Thank Obama for everything he did for me, bro. You couldn't make it up, could you? So they say we're lying and Obama and Biden are just as tough on immigration as Trump was. There isn't even a problem. And then this bloke who's been arrested 17 times, as he's getting stuffed into the van, he's like, yo, fuck Donald Trump, man. Biden forever. Let's watch a bit more of that because that tickled me. In fact, I want to start again because that was so good.
I'm not going back to Haiti.
You are, mate. You are, mate. I think the big burly bloke with a gun is making sure you probably are.
Is this illegal alien from Haiti? ICE says he's a gang member with 17 criminal convictions in recent years.
Trump, you feel me? Yo, Biden forever, bro. Thank Obama for everything that he did for me, bro.
ICE Boston quickly takes down its next targets, including this illegal alien from Brazil who has an Interpol red notice for armed robbery. This Salvadoran illegal alien charged locally with rape and released by a sanctuary jurisdiction.
Señor, ¿cómo se llama?
And this Dominican illegal...
Right, it goes on for ages. I'll just have to stop it there because the rage boner will punch holes in my desk and I'm going through desks faster than socks these days. The short version is, right, even my tolerant, liberal, reasonable missus was astounded looking at this stuff. And I was sat there trying to talk to her about it at the kitchen table. And I was like, they said it was a conspiracy theory, right? They said it was a conspiracy theory. They said there wasn't a problem. Of course, the government wouldn't let murderers and surprise sex enthusiasts. Of course, the government wouldn't let them just roam around willy-nilly. Of course, they wouldn't do that. It's a crazy conspiracy theory. And then Trump comes into office, and in less than a week, they've just drove round the houses of thousands of surprise sex enthusiasts, kiddie fiddlers, bank robbers, drug dealers, murderers, the lot. So, you don't need to have served in the Royal Marines like me to know this. The government knows the names and addresses of all the hardened criminals they did when I was in South Armagh. You know, every single one of them is. The intelligence services know this stuff. Which begs the question. If it was all a crazy conspiracy theory, and of course the government doesn't turn a blind eye to kiddie fiddlers in America. I mean, we all know they do it in England. In England, the government are the kiddie fiddlers. Right? Don't start me on Cyril Smith and the legions and legions of diddlers in the Houses of Parliament. There's more diddlers in the Houses of Parliament than the Catholic Church. If you looked at the hard drive of the average British politician, in fact, I was going to say, and showed it to the Pope, you could show it to Gary Glitter and he'd shit himself. He'd go, "Here, hey, steady on. I don't like seeing lung shots, crikey." The average British politician's hard drive would make Gary Glitter spew up. Right, this is how badly led we are in the UK. So I'm not going on about them. But even in America, which is why everyone should be able to get behind Trump, and everyone knows that Mr. Jones, Lord Jones, Al Jonesy, Alex, you know, my pal Alex, Lord Jones, he was right all along, wasn't he? Because globalism, lizard people, whatever you want to call them, that is definitely a thing. That is definitely a thing because it's the same in Canada, it's the same in Australia, it's the same in Italy and Spain and Denmark, it's the same in Norway, it's the same in Iceland, it's the same in Ireland, it's the same. No matter where you go in the Western world, every single leader is singing off the same hymn sheet and they're all doing the same stuff. So it's boring. It's almost boring to talk about. But the short version, within a week, he's rounded up thousands of surprise sex enthusiasts, diddlers, murderers, killers, the lot. So, my question to you, and this is a serious question, me and my missus were trying to come to some accord, figure out why. Can anyone, because again, I'm trying to give them the reason, the all benefit of the doubt. I don't like the term. Have you heard the new one? Douglas Murray coins terms, and he's such a good speaker, everybody else copies him, right? I might be wrong here, but the first time I ever heard the term steel man was Douglas Murray, and now everyone uses it. So I don't like it. It annoys me, that phrase. Just say, give them the benefit of the doubt. Try to strengthen their argument, right? Can you think of any logical reason why the governments of the Western world... Yeah, obviously that, James. We know that one. What I'm saying is I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. Can you think of any logical reason, just one reason, why they keep murderers and surprise sex and diddler boys in the country? Doesn't matter whether it's America, Canada, England, Portugal, France, Spain, Denmark, Germany. It doesn't matter where. Someone come up with something. Because me and my missus were like, I genuinely can't think of anything. I'm trying to think of a single solitary reason that we get something out of it. Again, you're all giving me stuff that, this is all stuff that I know. I'm asking you for a single reason why they would do it. I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. Is there anything you get out of it? I was thinking like, maybe some of them work, but they don't, do they? Because if they work, they're working under the table. So... yeah, there's one. Okay, so that could be one. Maybe they like to use them to make sure the coppers have got plenty of on-the-job training. Right now. So we've managed to think of one. And that's all I've got. That's all I've got. So therefore, so the whole 1,050 people in this chat, the only person who can come up with anything is maybe they like to make sure the police have always got some people to train with. That's the only thing we can think of. So therefore, to me, logically, the inescapable conclusion we have to arrive at is that they really are doing it on purpose. They really are doing it on purpose. Anarcho-tyranny, which everyone's always said is a conspiracy theory. If you can't think of any possible reason, even if you rack your brain as much as you can as to what positives diddlers and surprise sex boys and gangbangers and murderers and bank robbers and everything else are left in the country by the likes of Biden and Trudeau and Starmer, then therefore the conspiracy theory has to be true, which is, we all know this, they like them because the public are terrified, and when the public are terrified, it's the anarcho-tyranny in action, when the public are terrified, then they can get away with anything. Then they can say, well, look at the Patriot Act. If the public's scared, problem, reaction, solution, Mr. Ike called it. If the public are scared, then you can do anything, can't you? If the public are terrified because there's thousands and thousands of diddlers in the streets, then you might go, okay, well, we need more CCTV cameras to keep you safe. And everyone will go, oh, yeah, good idea. Then they'll go, oh, there's diddlers everywhere. Maybe we have to spy on everyone's phones. Maybe we just get rid of all of the checks and balances and the warrants. Maybe we just spy on everyone all the time, and everyone goes, oh yeah, if it'll help stop the diddlers. But they know the names and the addresses of the diddlers, and Trump's been in for a week, and they're just getting them out in the thousands. 4 planes landed in Mexico the other day, full of them. So we know, don't we? We know. So as I'm telling you lot, this isn't a conspiracy theory. This is happening. And Trump arriving in the White House and within a week throwing out thousands of known criminal scum because they have the names and addresses proves that they're doing it on purpose. So, yeah, the right answer is don't be scared. Be angry. Be very, very, very angry. Keir Starmer, we need to get to a point where literally tens of millions of British people are willing to actually put themselves on the line. I mean, you know what might work? If every single person not every single person, he's not going to get everyone. If 10 million people cut and pasted exactly what that granny put on Facebook, if 10 million people put it up at the same time, what are they going to do about it? People need to get out of this malaise, and just let the government do whatever they want. There's 65 million people in the UK and only about 10% of them are woke. It's time for the government to be the ones that are concerned. If 20 million people copied her tweet to the letter and stuck it on Facebook and Twitter, what is Plod going to do about it? I'm curious to know. Politics is in. All right, mate. I'm glad you're still chugging along. I'll tell you what, you go dark for months at a time before I remember to check on your channel again. YouTube have been strangling both of us for many years. As I said, I think Paz really got a new lease of life when he started a new channel. Once you're on their list, I don't think you ever get off it. You need to make a new Google account and start from scratch, I think, if you really want to go into the stratosphere. But I can't be bothered, so I'll just stubbornly stick it out. It's a good job I work for a living, isn't it? Anyway, so that's mad. Needless to say, I've booked a trip home in March. I'm just going to tell them that my British passport's expired. And I'm going to wear a cowboy hat. I'm going to come in my US one. I'm hoping I could dodge the authorities. Hey, fellas, at least if I fly on a US passport and wear a cowboy hat, it might cause an international incident if I get arrested for being impolite on the internet. I'm hoping Trumpy will break me out of the Wormwood scrubs. We'll see. Anyway, I've got some start stuff here. Let's have a look. Ragnar, evening from Ballymoney. All right, how you doing? Danny Aston joined the channel. Well done, Danny. Switched on you. Bearded one, I've already answered that. Leon, legend, thank you very much. I'm assuming you're talking about me or not Keir Starmer. Richie Erickson keeps our minds off how shite they are. Maybe that's a reason. They are their cover. They want to make it legal. It's already in the works. All this map. Oh, yeah, that is unbelievable. That is unbelievable. Map, if you don't know. You'll love this one. You'll love this one. Everyone thinks some of the stuff I tell the lads at work, they think I'm making it up. Like the Americans. Because, again, British people are proud and they love slagging off the Americans. But the country's not as messed up as the UK. Nowhere near. Nowhere near. David Starkey's talked about it. America has all these extra checks and balances because it's a young country. And the founding fathers thought of all these things, so they made the Constitution binding, and it stopped the decays quick. Biden did his best in 4 years to ruin the country, and he imported tens of millions of illegals on purpose. And then, as we've seen in this footage, let them have their way with millions of American women because it was good for their evil agenda. But it's still better than the UK. At least the coppers are scary in America. There's still law and order in America. Definitely. Because the coppers will still shoot you. I mean, it's that simple. There's no law and order in England. The coppers in England are as soft as a second-hand arsehole. I've never seen such a pathetic bunch of losers. The bobbies in the UK are a joke. A sick joke. Anyone who's fit and capable of wrapping a truncheon round your head, they don't hire them. They want little fat roller lesbians to be police officers in the UK. It's a complete joke. So what are you going to do? I told you, basically, you can only be a copper in the UK if you're a man, if you've got a club foot, a hair lip, a cleft palate, and a sub Down syndrome IQ. Like, it's really, really bad in the UK. At least in America, the coppers are still scary. Now, every time I see a copper slot someone out here, I'm like, yeah, good that. At least let them know the bobbies are watching them. Like, you know, again, it shows how things change over the years. A few years ago, when I used to see an American copper shooting a gangbanger, even though he was unarmed, like he's shot a police car up and he puts the gun down and he runs off and the copper shoots him in the back, and I used to go, oh, that's a bit harsh. He was unarmed there, not very professional. I was going back to my training, you know. Now I'm like, get in, dig him up, shoot him again. Now I love it because I'm like, at least the coppers are a bit scary. And they're all right bobbies out here. I always, when I'm out drinking, if I ever see coppers, I always have a crack with them. Obviously, I'm almost as verbose in real life as I am on the internet. It's not really a persona. And I always have a crack with them when I see them out. And last year, me and my missus were out at on the Yal, and I went to a food truck, and there was like 5 coppers stood there getting something to eat. It was about 11 o'clock at night, and I was leathered. And I went straight over and went, all right, lads, how you doing? I said, I love the coppers, me out here. I said, I feel sorry for you boys. I said, policemen in California, the commies are everywhere, aren't they? I said, they must give you boys some shit. Straight away, the big black one went, I'm buying his dinner. So we didn't have to pay for our food. Because this massive black copper was like, I'm getting his dinner. Because I just went straight over and started slagging off the commies. Because you know the bobbies are going to be on side, aren't they, in America? Can you imagine that in Britain? In fact, I'm back in March. If I get out the cells to see off my holiday as a free man, I'm going to try it. I'm going to go up to 2 beat bobbies in London and go, oh man, I bet the commies give you some shit, don't they? And they'll be like, actually, it's they, them. And I would appreciate it if you wouldn't talk about Karl Marx in that fashion. Although, nah, they never knew. They wouldn't know Karl Marx is. They don't read. They just get, they just spew platitudes that they hear off on the BBC or Owen Jones. So they don't know anything, do they? We all know they don't read. We all know they don't read. There's a bit of a rant. Let's watch a little bit more of this just so we can appraise ourselves of the story fully. And then I'll sum up and we'll try something else.
Illegal alien charged with assault with a deadly weapon and heroin trafficking. Officers also arrested this Guatemalan MS-13 gang member facing gun charges. ICE says he was released from local custody just the day before. Their detainer request was ignored because of sanctuary policies. And in a sign of shifting priorities with the new Trump administration, this man, who was in the same apartment as the target, was also arrested after ICE determined he's also in the U.S. illegally.
Yeah.
This is what ICE calls collateral.
So you guys got your main target just now, but you got somebody else. What just happened?
Collateral. I love that. How good. And this is what I'm talking about. How many times have I talked about it? The coppers actually get shit done in America. Collateral. I'll tell you collateral, right? Go into any kebab shop in Middlesbrough on a flimsy warrant for one of them. Just get one diddler in any kebab shop in Middlesbrough and the collateral will be unbelievable. There'll be more collateral damage than there was at Hiroshima, right? If they were just aiming for the Peace Dome and everything around it was collateral, that's what you'll get if you send the coppers in for one diddler in the borough. Honestly, and as I've said many times, I can get you a preemptive warrant because I definitely got served by Osama bin Laden in the pizza shop on Linthorpe Road, Middlesbrough in about 1999. He was definitely in there. So you can just go in. Like the father of modern terrorism. He was definitely in there. I seen him with my own eyes. I wouldn't forget those cold black eyes. Not ever. I shivered with shame after I finished my kebab, which possibly had semen in the coleslaw. So it's amazing in America. 4 years, I can't wait to see what he gets up to. That's what you should be doing. Collateral diddling. I don't know if that's a thing. But you get what I'm saying. It's way better in the States. They've got law and order. The coppers should be scary. I remember being in primary school and we used to laugh at the American coppers. You know what I mean? I remember being like 8 or 9 and there was a joke. Someone said like, oh, what's this? Freeze. That's an American policeman. Heh heh heh. And we all used to laugh. Snooty English kids laughing at the Americans. Oh, the American police shoot everyone. Now, I'd give my left testicle for an American policeman marching through the streets of Middlesbrough with a massive chip on his shoulder, whipping out his 6-shooter and ventilating diddlers, because what's the alternative? Like, I used to be socially liberal centrist. I used to be all about, oh, I can't believe police brutality is shocking. Oh, I can't believe they do this. I can't believe they do that. A logical man places his line on the sand and then every 3 fucking weeks reevaluates. And if he needs to move the line, he does so. Do you know what I'm saying? So, like, to me, because I'm rational and logical, I was always a socially liberal centrist. Now I've got a little bit right wing. If things go back to being calm, well, then I'll go back to reining in the police. Do you know what I mean? 10 years ago, when the world wasn't falling apart, I was like, oh, we need gay rights, definitely need gay marriage, definitely think women should be allowed to get an abortion, definitely don't think you should be allowed to gun in England. Oh, they were all my positions. Now, UK, fucked. Fucked. So I maintain that it's a logical position to go, okay, don't care about abortions anymore, give the bobbies shooters, lock everyone up, throw away the key, guillotines, salt mines and merriment. That seems reasonable to me. All right? And when women are safe and little kids aren't getting stabbed in dance classes and Alfonso isn't mounting the pavement in Nottingham and killing innocent people, well, then I'll go back to policing the police. Do you know what I mean? Seems reasonable to me. Rumour has it that Trump is releasing the... See, I've heard that he's already released all the JFK and all the Martin Luther King stuff, which is amazing as well, right? That's a sort of liberal thing to do. Again, he's really not that right wing, is he? Donald Trump. Yeah, I know. I remember when the guns went. You know how I remember this? Because I was in the Isle of Wight on holiday. I was in the Isle of Wight on holiday with my dad when Michael Ryan went off it and shot a load of people. Remember that? I'm sure a lot of you lot do, because it's not like I have Gen Z flock into my channel. So I'm well aware of that. What I'm saying is, now I think we should be allowed to arm ourselves. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not labouring under the delusion we had guns. This is the problem with the internet. You just have to like talk quickly on a fly and people try and punch holes in your argument. I'm well aware there wasn't guns 10 years ago. Again, I've just named Michael Ryan. That must have been about, what, 1988? 1988, something like that. What I'm saying is, we really need to have guns back if the police can't handle the crime, if you're not safe. There you go, so I was nearly right, 1987. If you can't trust the police, then the citizenry needs to be armed. So that seems to be a reasonable position. All I'll say here is this: how safe do you feel? In 1990, I would have supported a handgun ban. In 2010, I'd have probably supported the UK position on guns. But in 2025, tool me up. If I was living in Manchalabad in 2025 and I could go out with a grenade launcher, I fucking would do. If I could drive through, in fact, I'd only want to go through Manchester with a grenade launcher. I'd want to be in an MRAPS with a grenade launcher with Ed 209 escorting me through the streets. So you've got to change your position. That's mine. See what I'm saying? You change it. A logical person changes the position. So if we were teleported back to 1995, I'd be a liberal. But in 2025, tool me up. Tool me up. If it would stop those 3 little girls. As I said, I don't want to go on about it too much because I get angry. Seeing those bands on X now drives me wild with fury. Like, when I see that little girl, BB, and even the fact they named one of them after a granny or something, you know what I mean? She was called like Elsie. Little English girl named after a granny. And we kill them and replace them with Muhammad Akhtar Shakbar Diddler the Third. It's just truly awful. So we need change. Paul Mack's more sensible than me. He's been right wing his whole life. But again, how long has I've had this channel about 4 or 5 years now? Like, you know my positions. I was an Obama era liberal. But to me, the reasonable position is to change your mind. And I've changed my mind by fuck. Or I've changed my mind. When I first got out here, I liked Bernie Sanders. Think of that. Think of that. Well, I remember coming here in about, what was it when I moved out here? I think it was about 2014. And I liked Bernie because I was thinking America's too right wing, Britain's about right, so we should like have free healthcare and maybe curtail gun ownership and all this stuff. And 10 years later, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe how stupid I was. Look how bad it's got. Bernie. Can you imagine? The Bootneck used to like Bernie. I'm almost embarrassed. I'd be less embarrassed if I told people I was, on the sex offenders register. People now, aren't you the angry? Did you used to like Bernie? No, that wasn't me. No, I don't. Bernie's never heard of Bernie Sanders. When was he popular? Oh, like 2015. Oh, sorry, no, in 2015 I was in prison for masturbating on the school bus. Yeah. So sorry, that's less embarrassing. Ragnar's got footage of me goose stepping, apparently. Yeah. Well, that's hilarious what they've done with Elon, innit? In fact, let's find some more good stuff on Twitter, shall we? Oh, this made me laugh. Look at this. Look at this picture. Rent a mob in Southampton today. How many different things are there to demo for? No, the unison flag at the back. If you subscribe to a union at work, I suggest you stop. You are funding these whoppers. Look at this bloke. Look at him. He couldn't knock the fluff off a cappuccino. What a knobhead. The other thing is, we know they're all like mentally deficient, these people, but I could get away with him standing like that, thinking he's Tommy 10 guns, if he was like 19. Do you know what I mean? You know me, again, I'm not judgmental. When I was 20, I was an idiot. Me and all my friends have talked about this in the pub, you know what I mean? When I was 25, I was an idiot. I don't really feel like I started growing up until I was about 30. Like, I don't think men do mature very fast, do they? I was a plank when I was 23. Thought I knew everything, really immature. If he was 20, fair play, but he looks like 50, and he's stood there dressed like an absolute diddler with his New York Yankees hat on in England and his red Palestinian necktie and his skull and crossbones hoodie. It's unbelievable, that. 50 years old. Like, what a sad bastard. And as I said, he couldn't put a tab out him. He couldn't knock the skin off a rice pudding. It's laughable. So yeah, there's a 50-year-old man thinking he's Billy Big Guns. We used to call, when I was a teenager, there was a lad in I think he was like 2 years above me in school, and we used to call him Mattress Back, because we said he walked like he had a mattress strapped to his back, like he thought he was proper nails, and he used to walk like that. Yeah. Like Liam Gallagher if he had a pen up his arse. And that's what this guy's doing. Thinks he's nails. What a knobhead. I'd roundhouse his lips off. Heartbreak. Oh yeah, don't start me on that, Joe. It proper gets me wound up. Stu's not right wing, he's just right. Well, as I said, I'll go back to embracing liberal sensibilities when the world's sane again. For the time being, we need to take our medicine, and our medicine is arm the coppers, arm the citizens, deportation flights, jobs are good. And Annie, the Welsh choir boy, made enough rice in to kill 120,000. Well, there you go. There you go. Because there's a number. You're only 20,000 off the number I picked. I've made this point before. If the regulars at Allen's got their hands on a dirty bomb and killed 100,000 people in London, it still wouldn't be enough. It will never be enough. How right have I been proven? I was saying this 3, 4, 5 years ago to you lot. I was telling you, they will never do anything about it because they're ideologically possessed. They're like a cult. When someone's in a religious cult and they're a creationist and they think the world's 6,000 years old, it doesn't matter what evidence you show them. It doesn't matter about the Hubble telescope or the Big Bang or the fossil record or radiometric dating. It doesn't matter what you tell them. They go, no, the world's 6,000 years old. Jesus used to go to school on a fucking dinosaur. Doesn't matter what you tell them. And that's what our leaders are like. They are in thrall to an ideology that has completely possessed them. So they don't care. And I told you lot this. I said to you, if they were willing to turn a blind eye to the torture and murder, occasional murder of children, innocent children, if the government's willing to turn a blind eye to that for a 25-year period, there is nothing they won't turn a blind eye to. That's what I said. And how much worse has it got? When I was saying that was before the Manchester Evening News bombing. That was before the scattered little girls across the side of the walls of the Manchester Evening News arena. That was before Emily Jones got a throat cut in a park. That was before 3 children got killed in a dance class. And how right have I been proven? Because the last week, all the truth's coming out. All the truth's coming out now. I'm sick of seeing videos on YouTube about it because now everyone's covering it. I was telling you about this 5 years ago. And lo and behold, even after the wholesale butchery of little girls at a dance class, the government's going, oh, it's Jeff Bezos' fault. I know what the real problem is. Knives. Ooh. We've always had knives. We had knives in the 80s and the 70s and the 60s and the 50s. We've had fucking knives since, I don't know, before the Bronze Age. The Romans had knives. And now they're going, oh, yeah, it's knives. Yeah, it's knives. I still see, still to this day on the BBC, people going, oh, no, he definitely wasn't following an ideology. And that Joe Cox's weird, creepy diddler husband is all over Twitter going, even a CPS guy said he didn't follow an ideology. It's like, oh, really? Yeah. He was a full-blown terrorist. He had the AQ training manual in his house. And he told us he was a terrorist. And they go, nah, he wasn't a terrorist. He just liked Doctor Who. The knife made him do it. So, was I proved right or not? I told you it didn't matter what they did. It doesn't matter what they did. And it's the same, taking us back to what I was originally talking about. It's a global thing. Because do you remember when the whole world went mad? Benghazi. And the reason it happened was because someone spread a documentary that was critical of Mighty Moore, the epileptic midget diddler. And Obama went on telly. I remember Christopher Hitchens taking the piss out of Obama, saying not only did everyone say definitely had nothing to do with the religion of many pieces, in fact, it had more to do with Christianity. So, okay then, if that works for you, you're welcome to it. Do you know what I'm saying? If that works for you, son, you're welcome to it. You've clearly got the IQ of a pull-along duck and a head full of horse shit. So if that works for you, you're welcome to it. But don't tell me I have to swallow the shit that you're trying to shovel down my mouth, because it doesn't make any sense even on the face of it. Yeah, it's Amazon's fault. Okay then. Yeah. Cheers then. What makes loads of sense. Richie Erickson, they've twisted it to ban. Exactly. So, that takes us back to the original point. It's in the Gulag Archipelago. It's the conspiracy theory. The government are not interested in rounding up the diddlers and the pedos and the murderers and the bank robbers and the heroin smack peddlers. They're not interested in that, because if they run rampant, then the general public, will sign up for giving the government as much power as they want. But they are interested, as Anglo-Saxon says, in jailing Sam for stickers that were purposely, because think of that as well, he wasn't stupid, he wrote those stickers in a very specific way so that they couldn't be construed as being prejudiced, didn't he? He didn't say anything negative about any group. He just said, it's okay to be a white bloke. That's it. Like, he's purposely worded it to be inoffensive, but they still locked him up on trumped-up charges. There's no way you can make that offensive. It's okay to be a thing. It's okay to be anything in it. You're not having a go at anyone. I mean, even if you put it's okay to be a diddler, right? Even that's not quite as offensive as the opposite. You know, like hang all the whatever. He thought about what he was doing, and they still locked him up. But as the footage has proved from the last week, they don't lock up murderers and killers and surprise sex adherents. They don't lock them up. They lock you up. And as I said to you, the educated ones amongst you who've read the Gulag Archipelago will know the famous quote from Mr. Solzhenitsyn. The government won't let you have a knife because, you're a terrorist. You're a threat to democracy. You're a threat to the state. You're a threat to the people. But if the criminal has a knife, the career criminal, the man who stabbed your wife to death, the man who holds a knife to a woman's throat and bangs her in an alley like a barn door in a hurricane, he can have a knife because it's not his fault. The system created him. The capitalist patriarchy, heteronormative patriarchy system created the Somalian stabber and the Rudu Kanubu and the Libyan suicide bomber at a little girl's pop concert. The state created that, so they didn't do anything. But you can't have a knife. Is any of this making sense? That's what you're living in the UK. That's what you're living in. It is. It's all your fault, Chuck. It's all your fault. So, yeah, there you go. That's very true, innit? And that's what I'm saying. You can't make this up, which is why, what do I call it? Upside down world. The sky is green and the grass is blue. It's clown world, upside down, everything. It's a great book. It's a great book. Talking to Jeff Wendy, obviously. It is. It's worth reading because, and this is what I tell you, if you actually read these great works of literature, it's not that weird. Everything we're going through is almost boringly prosaic because it's all happened before. As I said, history's a form of prophecy. Trevor's being a bit camp and doing dry January, so have a pint for me. I'm actually going off for a drink today, but I haven't had a pint for like 3 weeks. So I'm not quite doing dry January, but nearly. So I feel like I've earned one. Anyway, shall we put another story on? Because I can't look at this double-hard pensioner cosplaying as a... They're all old, aren't they? Look at him in the background. He's about 50. What a bunch of sad bastards. What's this? He tried warning all of Europe. Come on then, let's listen to this.
And let me say this in English so you can understand what I'm saying.
I have translation.
No, I know you have translation, but I just want to make sure you get it right. There will come a day that we will see far more radical extremists and terrorists coming out of Europe because of the lack of decision-making, trying to be politically correct, or assuming that they know the Middle East and they know Islam and they know the others far better than we do. And I'm sorry, but that's pure ignorance.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is something that I've told you a lot about. You know, when you're a professional soldier, you do your homework. Before I deployed to South Armagh, my boss said, go out and buy Bandit Country. It's a book all about the troubles, specifically around South Armagh. And I read it page to page before I deployed. We did it on pre-deployment leave. So when you go, you're not ignorant. Royal Marines are an elite fighting unit. We pride ourselves on our intellect and our composure and our compassion. We're not mindless savages. We do our homework. So I read that book page to page, and I read another one, A Brief History of Ireland, and I learned all about the Troubles and the plantation of Ulster, 1607 to 1609, learned about it all, educated myself. So, I mean, it can come in handy, because if a local stops you and starts having a pop, you want to be able to understand where he's coming from, maybe diffuse the situation, let him know you're not an ignorant prick. And one of the fascinating things that I learned is that normal people love to wax lyrical about subjects they know absolutely nothing about. As I've told you, I don't do it because I know my ignorance. I'm not an ingenious person, but I'm clever enough to know when I'm ignorant. And if I don't know the first thing about the subject, I don't talk about it. You know, if someone puts comments in the chat and I don't know what I'm talking about, I'll say, I don't really know much about that. I'd have to read. But our politicians, because as I've told you many times, they combine, it's a very dangerous trait to combine ignorance with arrogance. And that is exactly what our midwit, lackwit, fuckwit politicians do. I've just contradicted myself there. I went midwit, lackwit, fuckwit. Because the more I thought about it, the thicker they got. All right, there we go. That makes sense. You hear the first sentence come out of Angela Rayner's mouth. You think, she's a midwit. Then she talks a bit longer and you go, no, she's a lackwit. And then she goes, and you go, fuckwit. That's what happens with David Lammy. He starts talking about how he hasn't seen a copper and you go, midwit. And then he goes, and anyway. And then you realise how sweaty and thick he is. And you go, oh, no, actually, he's a bit of a lackwit. And then you go, fuckwit. So that's what happens. And when I went to Afghanistan, I got a puffin translated version of the Quran and the Hadith, and I started reading about these people, and I learned about them, and our politicians know less than fuck all about anything, but they still talk as if they know what they're talking about. The bluffers, they bluff it. Jess Phillips, sheep teeth, right? First of all, she has got teeth like a witch doctor's necklace, and if she had the brain she was born with, she would have got at least a brace. I mean, to be honest, that is such a train wreck in her mouth. It would probably be better if the dentist just put some diver's boots on and fucking booted them out, right? Do the dentist a favour and smash your teeth out. Or steal them off a dead sheep. Both will be an improvement. But the point is, she is a bluffer and an idiot, and she talks total bollocks 24/7. And you can tell when she's speaking, she doesn't know what she's talking about. But to people that don't really pay much attention, they're impressive. As I said, to blokes who think they're hard when they're 62 and they go out looking like a 17-year-old angry goth lesbian, right? To blokes like that, they're impressive. What's this? Did you see this? Lawyer Ahmed Yaqub detained by counter-terror police under, the incident occurred on the 21st, held for 6 hours. He said the counter-terrorism officers questioned him about his political activities. Yeah, I don't know if filling your shoes with Semtex and ball bearings and rat poison counts as political activities. Does it? Maybe I'm just getting old. I hadn't seen that. Twitter is good though these days, isn't it? I've told you before, I love Twitter. When you're childish and you still enjoy mocking people like you never left school, X is the place to be. I love it. I love ripping the piss out of lefties on Twitter these days. It's a hobby. There's a good one from Rupert Law I wanted to share. Look at that. So here's another thing to do. Do you remember me making a video a couple of years ago about the BBC running a story when Boris Johnson vaguely floated the idea of defunding the BBC? The BBC started running propaganda stories with headlines saying things like, government watchdog says it's impossible to defund the BBC. I was like, really? That's like Jeffrey Dahmer saying, oh yeah, well, actually I've talked to a government watchdog that Jeffrey Dahmer Society paid for, and they said it's not Jeffrey Dahmer's fault he eats people. That's the equivalent of what they did. Yeah, that's like Fred West saying, Yeah, I paid for an independent watchdog paid for by the Fred West Foundation, and they said you're supposed to make crazy paving out of concrete, paving slabs, and human skulls. So we just have to keep doing it that way. Oh, okay then, Fred. Yeah, cheers. I'll phone B&Q. We need more skulls. We need more skulls. The Fred West Foundation has said definitely need to put human skulls in with breeze blocks. So we just have to. Right, and that's what the BBC did. They started running stories 24/7. Oh, here's why it's impossible to defund the BBC. It isn't. It isn't. And since Trumpy, God bless him, God bless the Orange Oracle, beneficent as he is, since he started going around the diddlers' houses and deporting them all, now all the British politicians are going, we just can't deport people. Can't we? Why? Anyone heard a good reason? Anyone in the chat tell me a single good reason they've heard why we can't start deporting people? Anyone? Again, I always quote the sensible people that trained me as a Royal Marine. I remember one of the PTIs telling me, it's all in your mind. Mind over matter, fellas. That's what he used to say. Mind over matter. And I really took that to heart. And that stubbornness has shaped me to be the person I am. If I seen a pile of 10 million bricks and someone said to me, you have to move that, I'd move it. And you know how I'd do it? A brick at a time. A brick at a time. I'm like a terrier. I don't care if it's not even possible. If I'll live to 97 and I'm still carrying bricks, I'm doing it. So don't tell me, lefty, commie, dog, don't tell me, well, there's just too many immigrants. We can't do it. We can't. Look, and this is my point what Rupert Law's made. During a debate with me last night, an immigration lawyer said a deportation scheme on scale required isn't possible as it would require a flight every hour. Do that then. Do that. Every little helps. Do you know when, again, the hypocrisy, the mind-melting hypocrisy and stupidity of these clowns, it's so mind-meltingly hypocritical, it makes me laugh. But they love saying every little helps, don't they? Every little helps. How many arguments have I had with lefties I've told you a lot about where I'll be in the boozer talking to some shit for brains, usually a scouser or a jock. Usually a scouser or a jock. I know there's plenty of you in the chat, right? Remember, I'm not a collectivist, so I only hate 50 to 60% of you, right? I'm aware there's some sensible scousers and jocks, but you must concede 50 to 60% of your cities are shit for brains communists, all right? And they'll say we'll be talking about the numbers related to climate change. And they go, every little helps. I'm like, it doesn't though. It doesn't. Like they drive to the bottle bank and they put 6 bottles in the bottle bank from a Range Rover. And they drive home and they go, every little helps. And then in Zhuangsheng province, they're like, oh, you're building of a coal power plant. Yeah, it doesn't help. Every little bit doesn't help, you thick bastard. If every week the kitchen sinks and knocking up another coal-fired power plant, you driving to the fucking bottle bank in your Range Rover does less than jack shit. The idiom I've used before, I invented it. Didn't read it anywhere, I confess. It's not that clever, that's why I didn't read it anywhere. Was it's the equivalent of emptying the fucking lobster tanks in the restaurant on the Titanic. Isn't it? These shit for brains, orange twats, spraying everything. What they're called? Extinction Rebellion. Every little helps. It doesn't. It doesn't. If you're there on the Titanic and there's a 40-foot hole in the side of the ship because you've just twatted an iceberg, you being in the ship restaurant tipping the lobsters to tanks over the side, every little helps, doesn't help, right? But these hypocritical twats, when you're talking about something that has a relatively small number in the grand scheme of things, right? Not 10,000 gallons of water per second rushing onto the Titanic, but merely 3 or 4 million illegal aliens in the UK, then every little doesn't help, does it? A flight every hour is easy. Easy. How many flights an hour leave Heathrow? In fact, shall I Google it? How many flights an hour leave Heathrow. Have a look. There you go. Look at that. Bosh. There you are. The number of flights to take off from Heathrow Airport in an hour varies, but it could be 50 to 55 per hour. There you are. Start there then. Every hour, full plane of 300 diddlers, ship them out. Pretty good, that, isn't it? 10 hours, 3,000 people. Every day, 7,200 people, isn't it? Maybe my math's wrong, I'm just doing mental arithmetic on the fly while I talk quick. 7,000 diddlers a day. Do that. 10 days, 70,000 diddlers. Sounds pretty good to me, doesn't it? Does it sound good to you? Well, it doesn't sound good to Keir Starmer and the communists. No. Getting rid of 70,000 diddlers every 10 days is a terrible idea. So what do? Well, send your kids round, tell them to grab their ankles and let Iqbal Muhammad rag her like a fucking dog's chew toy. Just do that. Because it's too hard, the other thing. 10 flights a day is too hard. Just let them bum your kids. Easy. No. I disagree. I don't even have daughters. And I disagree, because I've got empathy, me. Used to be a liberal, you see. When the world was sane, I used to be a liberal. So I have empathy. Not for Iqbal Muhammad. No, not for him. For the little girls who get a knife in the face or a hairy-arsed 58-year-old mullah bouncing on the shitbox because Keir Starmer protects and provides succour and emotional support to the worst scum on planet Earth. All right? That's just my opinion. Controversial, I know, but I empathise more with the little girls with the knives in the faces more than the big hairy-ass 50-year-old blokes. So I'm just putting it out there. But this is what I mean, though. I mean, anyone who's not a moron can see this. This is why I'm repeating myself, but 18 flights an hour are doable. I'm not even saying you don't have to do that. You could just do 2. Just do 2. Every hour of every day, of every week, of every year, until diddlers don't roam the streets. Your granny can't go to Aldi without getting punched in the face by a Somalian pirate, or you can't take the dog for a walk without getting one donkeyed into you under the Transporter Bridge in Middlesbrough. Again, I know I keep bringing that up, but as I've told you, in the 90s, when the world was sane, I literally joked to my Uncle Ian and said, I hope I don't get raped by a big African. And he laughed. This is like 93 or something. And said, what? And I went, yeah, it was in the paper that a bloke got bummed by a foreign geezer. And my Uncle Ian was laughing, going, like he didn't believe me. And I had to physically go and show him the story. And he read it and he was like, holy shit. Couldn't believe it. Fast forward a few years and it's happening in the borough. This, in fact, I'll read the story because it's been a while since I've showed you. Just to show you the decline of society. Because, where is it here? Oh, Middlesbrough man. Here we are. Oh, maybe I've stumbled upon another one. A Middlesbrough man. Mohammed Iqbal. Oh, yeah, he sounds like he's from Middlesbrough, yeah. Oh, crikey. There's been so many in Borough, I can't even find the one I'm talking about. Man, Underbridge one. Underbridge in Middlesbrough. Let's see if I can find it. It's been a while. Yeah, there we go. Near a nature reserve. Amazing. So there we go. This can sum up. I can sum up here before I leave. In the 90s, the only time a bloke ever got rogered was in the capital. Middlesbrough was safe. Middlesbrough was 99.99% pasty, blue-eyed love machines like me. And things like this never used to happen. But 2021, you can't even take the dog round the block without getting one horsed into you by a geezer. So there you go. Poor bastard. And then, just read the story for a bit. So detectives are investigating a bloke getting banged like Stevie Wonder's big toe on a footpath near a nature reserve. Worst day out ever. Worst nature reserve going. It happened around 9:30 on the Black Path. It happened on the Black Path. Are you sure it wasn't the Brown Path? So it happened on the Brown Path, which runs from Tees Barrage to Cleveland. The victim, in his 40s, was approached by another man. The suspect is described as, well, I never. I'll tell you what, I never saw that coming. I thought it would say the suspect was a big, pasty, Ed Sheeran-looking ginger bastard. Yeah, you do surprise me. You do surprise me. So there you go. And to top it all off, he even had bad teeth. So you couldn't even get a kiss afterwards. Yep, so take the dog for a walk, come home with a ring piece like the top end of a welly, and your missus goes, was that a nice walk? No, it wasn't. I've just left a snail trail up the fucking drive. Does it look like it was a good walk? Put the kettle on and get the frozen peas out. Because my hoop is knacking. That was the worst walk ever. Anyway, we'll call it there. The total decline of society summed up with a story that you would never have read 25 years ago. All right? A man can't even take the dog for a walk in the borough anymore without a very stocky African man plunging into his cinnamon ring. All right? The collapse of society is upon us. So, I hope that cheers you up. I like to end on a high. You know, things are going wrong, so I like to end on a high. Okay? Thanks to everyone for tuning up. I think I broke my record there. 1,645 people. Surely that's more than GB News gets. Or anything related to The Guardian. Yeah. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'm going to go out for a booze today because, frankly, I think I've earned it. Hope you all have a good weekend. Enjoy the rest of it. Do not take your dog for a walk anywhere near a nature reserve in Middlesbrough. If you do, wear a chastity belt, eat the key, and claymore down the front of your drawers. Okay? Have a great weekend. I'll see you all on Monday. Keep your chins up because we can keep laughing as the world burns around us. Okay? See you all soon. Take it easy.